Alright, started the mobile Bitbox build. This is actually a fairly large suitcase, old style, velvety inside. I've already started cutting away a little bit. I'm going to stick a Dell monitor in here, exactly what brand I'll probably put a link to. But what's been great about it so far is that you can kind of tear apart. There's a nice little inset, and maybe a lot of other monitors work like this too, but I'll just put a mount in there and stick that there, and that'll allow the monitor to go on just fine. I don't think I'll put a battery into it at this point, but it'll be able to plug into the wall. Easy to bring it around, and we already have some of the holes that are for this mount specifically. So here it goes. Alright, well, I was pretty accurate with the screws. I had to wedge it on a little bit, but hopefully I didn't strip those too bad. But here's the bottom of the box and the top of the lid. Again, really nice that these all kind of come apart, but we'll see if I gave myself enough room, because the monitor needs to come on and slip onto these, and then it kind of slots into that one, kind of swings into that one, but we'll see. Well, next shot, for Wint washers, because there's just not a lot of room there. It's also super tight as it is because of the wood. In hindsight, I don't know how I'm going to get this black thing to line up, and it does fit nicely in there, but when it's on the back of the thing, I'm not so sure how that's going to happen. But we'll see if I can make it work. I'll recommend having that in there. Otherwise, I think it's kind of some dead weight that might jangle around a little bit, but because of how I've set it up, it's maybe just going to be a little bit, hopefully. Well, moment of truth. Looks like it fits in, and I've somehow managed to wedge it in there. I don't think that black back part is ever going to see where it's supposed to be, but that's okay. But the issue now is that when I try to close this puppy, I can kind of get it on one side or the other. It's a little bit closed there, mostly. But then on the other side, you can see how the screen is just a tiny bit too big width-wise. And so, I wonder if I can shave off a little bit of this side. We'll find out. But what's nice is I can take this out. I don't know if I can do this while holding the camera. Well, anyways, let me see if I can get this over here so you can see it without wobbly action. So yeah, so that comes out nice, but maybe have to sand it down a little bit somehow. So I sanded a little bit of the side of this thing. You can see this is maybe what's the issue. That used to be level with here, but then I went and sanded it. So hopefully you don't need those USB ports anymore, people. But there's a couple underneath, which is what we're going to be using for the Bitbox. Actually, we'll see right here. Alright, so it looks like I still need to take off about, well, a lot more, but it's getting there, I think. We'll find out. Try not to inhale noxious fumes or anything, but continue to work on it. Okay, so status report. I sanded far enough that I could just kind of rip off the edges here, and now you can kind of see the LCD here. And I cut away some of the stuff on the edges here at the top. We'll see if that helps. And these are the touch buttons that control the screen, so obviously, as I'm not too much into PCB stuff, I don't want to mess this up, but there's the power button there. Well, maybe over here. So don't want to wreck this, so I'll take this off the thing and then try to cut the plastic to fit. Okay, so I've cut off that edge now, put it back, put that little button PCB back in there, and yeah, so we'll see. This is kind of the final thing I can take off without pulling off the entire LCD, which in hindsight might have been the choice anyway, since I've mutilated it this much. But let's see if this works. Okay, so finally, some good news. All that working allows me to, well, all that sanding and all that clipping off of the plastic. Here are some of the pull remains of the sides of the case. Obviously I'll need to come in and maybe, well, maybe not obviously, but I could paint that a black. What I should also do is, this top clip used to be secured, at least helpfully secured by the rest of the frame, so I'll maybe add some tape to go around the corner. But this is finally some good news. We can close it, and I can close this chapter of trying to get this thing to fit in the box. The end. Well, I added a bit of electrical tape on the sides, so we'll see if that still allows it to fit. Alright, well, it all fits in there. So next steps are to boot it up, see if it works. Alright, so there's the Bitbox. I haven't fired this up yet, but yeah, it's looking pretty good so far. There's one small hiccup. When I lower the lid, this thing wants to... I don't think the Dell manufacturers were intending the monitor to ever come forward, because that's essentially how you unlock it. So even with the little lock mechanism in the back, either it's broken or I'm not quite engaging it correct. So I'll just try to put in a little kind of mount right there to stick it in. But for now, if I'm not closing it, it's fine. And I wanted to see if I can still boot this. So hopefully I haven't done too much damage to the screen. So with this and that, oh, this is hard to get. Okay, this is heart pounding, I'm sure. Okay. Okay, so let's see if this still works. Power sign, that's always good. So one of the reasons I chose this monitor in particular is that it has a power supply attached. So it has USB, it's like a USB, whatever, you know what I'm talking about. Powered USB hub, there we go. So all I have to do is connect VGA, USB, and here's a controller also. So theoretically I should be able to play this. For some reason I'm not getting input. Okay, anyway, just had to unplug and replug it, so now I can do things. This is really hard to do one-handed, but I could potentially draw a little sprite here, etc. So I don't have the sound quite hooked up, but that's another thing where I'm going to use a powered USB hub, and then it'll be somewhere in this box. And then potentially there's a HDMI output in this thing as well, so it wouldn't be hard to switch between something like a Raspberry Pi and the Bitbox for on-the-go mobile. I don't know, I want to say this would be great for LAN parties. You want to, except there's no network connection on a Bitbox, but you just bring it over, and there's just one cord you have to plug in, and everything else goes from that. So I was gonna put this support in, but I've realized that if I put that support in, it's gonna kind of lock in the thing, and that's gonna be great for travel and everything. But before I do that, I want to add in. I'm gonna, in the mail, we're getting some hinges that'll kind of come up and from here to here and connect there. So that'll be a little bit of wait for that. So I may upload what I have here, and there'll be more in the future. So exciting times.